Hello, welcome to Shelf Centered. I saw a lot of booktubers get really close and intimate with their bookcases, so I thought I'd try the same, see if this might be better. We'll see about that. You can kind of see everything a little better. You don't have to zoom in so much, huh? Anyway, jumping right into it, Chasm City review. Chasm City by Alastair Reynolds. This is in the Revelation Space universe, which is really interesting. It's hard sci-fi as opposed to softer sci-fi. I would say like a John Scalzi is more soft sci-fi. It's more sci-fi gets you places, but you're not really focused or get the details in it, but you have great plot. That's Scalzi. This one is lots of great plot, but also you get into some great ideas. I thought I'd switch things around with this review. Just in trying to watch reviews and see what people are doing that I like personally. So disagree with me if you would like, because I would love to know what your opinions are. But my thought is my favorite reviews are when it's spoiler and you're just warned about, hey, here's spoiler part, but also non-spoiler. So this initial part until I say will be non-spoiler. Then I would like to get into some spoiler parts, and I'll put a little something on the bottom to tell you when to jump to when we get to the spoiler part, to jump through and get to the end. Anyway, that's my thought. That's my goal. Maybe this is what I'll do from now on. Ooh, don't mess with the light. Sorry about that. It's an earthquake. So anyway, jumping again right into it because we keep jumping. Alastair Reynolds, he's a great author. It's Revelation Space itself, great book, highly recommended. This is a prequel to that. Chasm City involves, and well, I felt like it was not quite what I was expecting based on reading the back. It talks about the once utopian Chasm City, a domed human settlement, and it's actually in a place called Yellowstone in this universe. And it's overrun by a virus called the melding plague. And the interesting part about that virus is that it's this. It can affect both machines and humans, pretty much. I mean, that's the but tissue, actual. So anything really, pretty much. Machines, and I guess not like wood or something, but it can affect like living tissue as well as machines. So my thought, I was under the impression, okay, so this is a book about dealing with this plague that's gone crazy, maybe The Stand by Stephen King type situation, or because I mean that intrigued me. It said done. I'd love to hear about that. It's not. just to warn you, and that is not a spoiler. But because I wish I would have been warned ahead of time, just to get my expectations in the right place. It's still a great book. I am not detracting from this. This is still highly, highly rated in the end, so that will be what you get. But I was a little kind of like, wait, where's the part? Because the melding plague eventually, when it gets there, which is pretty quick, it's already happened. And so we're kind of dealing with a place where this has already affected people and dealing with the aftermath of that. So we follow a guy. His name's Tanner Mirabel, and he's essentially a bodyguard for this other guy named Cajuela. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's at least what I did in my head. So it's the problem with reading and not doing audio like I usually do. You either get the spelling wrong if you do audio, or you get the pronunciation wrong if you read with your eyeballs instead of your ears. So let's see, Chasm City. I probably don't. Man, it's like you really want to read this so far, huh? Tanner Mirabel, though, he's this great character. What he's trying to do. He's tracking down the guy that killed his people. Okay, Revich. Again, I'm pronouncing it Reivich. There we go. That's what I read. And this guy essentially murdered the number of people. Tanner's is tracking this guy. He's got to kill him. That's what he vowed to do. And so he tracks him. Tanner lives. He's from this place called Sky's Edge, And Sky's Edge is a different place than Yellowstone that I mentioned earlier, where Chasm City is actually located. And so Tanner is essentially on his way there, but something happens, and I don't want to spoil any of that for you, because it's great, good action. And he ends up in this new place. His memory is a little funky. He doesn't know what's going on, but he's slowly kind of gaining some things back. And so he enters this completely different world, literally. It's literally a different world he's on. And he has to kind of get into this society, but he still knows he's got this one goal. It's almost like Memento in a way, where, you know, the guy, what's his name? Guy Pearce's, I don't even know, it's been a while. But where Guy Pearce has this, you know, he knows he's got to find his wife's killer, but he doesn't have any short-term memory. It's not quite like that, but anyway, similar. So he's got this one, revenge. He's got this one job. And so on the same time as you have this plot going toward this Revich character, and Tanner's trying to track this guy down, you've also got, so on Sky's Edge, and it introduces this really early on, where the actual Sky Houseman is this legendary / infamous character on Sky's Edge, that the original world where Tanner starts out. And this Sky character, so at first you're kind of just like given this kind of synopsis. He was one of the first people on these, what's called the flotilla. There's a number of ships that were launched, and I forget if it was from Earth. But anyway, this flotilla that was launched to get to this ending hospitable world, and they knew it would take hundreds of years to get there. And so anyway, but so the Sky character, you kind of see he did some atrocity in some people's eyes, but he's also a hero in other people's eyes. And so you kind of slowly get introduced, but then eventually the way this book is set up is that you're following Tanner in one chapter or section of the chapter, and then you jump over and you actually follow Sky from the very beginning of his life to him actually, to this big event, and you actually get more, because at first it's shrouded in mystery. People are going, it's that whole, is he infamous or legendary? Which one is he? You don't know, you're not given enough information, but as you start to kind of actually get into this guy's life, you actually learn kind of some truths, and it's told, it's interesting because it's in Tanner's head that this is kind of coming about, because, anyway, I don't want to get into too many spoilers when I'm in my non-spoiler. there's a level, right, of how much are you actually spoiling by just talking. I'm trying not to get into anything like that, but so without getting into too much, so now let's jump into spoilers. So this will be where right here. Can I get it right here? Can I get it right there? My editing skills, my wonderful, amazing editing skills will put them to work. So to get into spoilers, you've been told, you've been warned, so now we're getting into spoilers. So what's really interesting about this is that Tanner actually develops this kind of, it's not the melding plague, but it's this different plague where his palm starts bleeding. And it's this Sky Houseman like plague thing, and so that's what kind of gives him these memories that he starts to understand Sky Houseman and kind of some of the traumas that Sky is affected by. But what's really interesting, because I don't want this just to be a synopsis, I feel like what's more valuable is my opinion on it. You can get the synopsis by reading Goodreads synopsis or something. But what's so interesting is how this was played together with Tanner, his memories, then the Sky Houseman on that end, where that story is so interesting, how he gets to this. So essentially this flotilla is trying to get to what they're calling Journey's End, and that's the hospitable planet. And so they know, so what they're doing is they're carrying sleepers And these sleepers are essentially going to be, they're frozen, they're cryogenically frozen. They're going to be woken up when we get there because they know that this is going to take like 200 years or so to get there. So they actually have a crew that's actually running the ship, making sure the sleepers are going okay. And there's multiple ships. So I don't know if I mentioned that, but there's multiple ships because it's a whole flotilla. And so there's all these mysteries. So then there's but it's interesting because essentially the crew members, because of that long span of time, it's kind of essentially what do they call it, so it's a generational ship essentially in all but actual name, because the crew itself has to be this generational ship. They have to have children, and then the children are going to grow up and probably die on the ship after living a full life, and then their children might actually reach the journey's end, right? So it's this fascinating thing, and it shows the kind of crumbling of the relationships between the ship. You have the greatest part is there's just multiple mysteries. I don't know how Reynolds just juggles all these things. They're so good, and then just puts them all together so well. There's the mystery of you've got people from the original world. I want to say it's Earth, and I'm sorry I'm blanking on that, but they're shooting messages out. Hey, we've advanced in technology now. You can fix this antimatter part of your ship or whatever to make it more efficient and to do this and this and that. And then you have on the flip side, then someone sending out a message going, don't trust them. They're trying to sabotage you. And you're like, what? How? This is crazy. So then there's all these flotilla ships, and they are starting to crumble in their communication. They're starting to become their own insular ships and kind of us against them type thing. You've got one of the ships tries one of these solutions to make it more efficient and actually blows up, and it's actually the reason that Sky's mother actually dies very early on in his childhood. And then you have this ghost ship. Potentially there's this rumor, hey, there's just a ship out there that's trailing us. Is it part of it? Was it sent by our people? Is it part of our people? Is it? And oh my gosh. And then it gets just crazier from there because they go and explore this crazy ghost ship, and it's actually an alien ship that had caught on to them and kind of shaped itself like their ship. And it has a relation to what is found in Chasm City. And Chasm City, anyway, it's just, there's so many things. So I don't even want my spoiler part to get too crazy, because I just, unless, let's discuss more if you have read it. But it's so fascinating. I just want to get to the part that this is just so fun. It's so much fun. There's so much going on. There's so many intricacies. And then there's a whole like Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall type memory craziness in the end too. Just because of all the crazy things that Cahuela did at the beginning, that he's the boss of Tanner Mirabel, and and it's told that he died and his people died, and then Tanner's finally starting to realize, wait a sec, what's going on? And I don't want to get into those. That's like extreme spoilers for this, but it's so freaking good. It has you all over the place, and then how it all comes together in the end. So stop with the spoilers there. We'll get back to overall rating for Chasm City. I think I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. It's good. It's good, and I can't wait for more in this universe. I wish it didn't take me this long to read it. It's like, I don't know how Reynolds does hard sci-fi with such a cool mystery, underscore the mystery plot. I would love to see this on the big screen. How fun would that be? I don't know how they get weird though, and so like in a good way, in like a I guess I mean it's his imagination as to what these aliens could look like, and why wouldn't they be that way, and then the concept of time, and I'm just barely getting to the surface. So the mass market paperback, 694 pages. It's good from the first page to the last, and highly recommended. 8 out of 10. Thanks for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, and read Chasm City. Bye.